Sloughs here, and today I'll be ranking from the worst to the best infantry hero. Now that two new heroes have entered my season, Skogul, I think, and Goresh, there's not going to be any new infantry heroes for a while now, since they're going in the pattern of two each season, I guess, or I don't even know, every 6 to 8 weeks, I think. Safe to say the next infantry heroes will be in a long time. So there's no better time to do this ranking than now. So let's just get into it. Actually, before we get into it, if you are new to my channel and love Call of Dragons, and especially infantry, make sure to subscribe to the channel to be up to date with all my Call of Dragons content and to be updated when I live stream. With that out of the way, let's get on with it. Starting off as the worst infantry hero, we have Bakar. Sadly, I tried to make this guy work and well, he sucks. There's no other way to say it. He's actually so bad. I mean, it's sad because he's technically the only infantry epic hero, and for him being that, he's a disappointment. I mean, if we go through some of the good epic heroes like Craig, he's got some solid skills. You know, extra attack, defense, more hero skill damage, smart speed, AoE, like he's a very good. Or Wode, who's considered possibly the best epic hero. I mean, everything he has is just amazing in the open field. And then you get Bakar. I mean, he shook his head as well. He's an infantry hero, but he barely has anything to support infantry. Here, it's all about damage, skill damage and damage bonus. And it's not like the damage is crazy, it's only 600, so it's not really that much. And 20% extra for 4 seconds. Again, your infantry, you don't do that much damage. Then next, this is the only good one, I believe. The defense bonus, 10%. If only this was like 15% on its own. And that's it, forget the attack bonus and it was just 15%, it would at least make him better. Third, attack reduction. To be fair, this isn't that bad. Basically making him more tanky if you're on a 1v1 fight because you're reducing your opponent's attack. But what makes this not that good is because it can only be triggered once every 10 seconds. So yeah, if you are hit by 3, 4, 5, whatever amount of marches, I believe only one of them will get this and then the rest will be fine. If it didn't have this part, this would be a solid skill, but it's the fact that it can only be done once every 10 seconds. Yeah, if you're in a 1v1 or maybe 2, max 3 marches, it's good, but any more than 3, it just becomes useless, man. Unless I'm wrong and it can actually inflict gloom on all of them, but I'm pretty sure it's only one. We don't really need to talk about this. It's a garrison skill and his awakened, which sucks because you have to be at 50% or less before it starts. Don't get me wrong, the damage is nice because it's basically doing 600, I believe. Yeah, every second for 3. So 600 basically, but you're at 50%. You're already doing less damage anyway, so it's not like you're going to be doing a crazy amount. If it was like 75%, it would be better, but still, it's damage. It doesn't do no extra tankiness. It's not good. So now the second worst, or at number 6, because yes, there are 7 infantry heroes. You might have counted 6, but no, there's 7. So at number 6, Nika. Nika is this low, similar to the reasons of Bakar, but the only difference is she's a legendary, so all her skills are better, but they aren't meant for infantry in my opinion. I always say this, and I will always say this until every single infantry player plays this way. Infantry is about tanking. Don't have damage in your mind. Like, don't. As soon as you think, I want to pick this hero because they do this amount of damage. No, that's it. You're wrong. You're wrong. Infantry is not about damage. They are about tanking and lasting as long as possible. So when you have a hero like Nika, who every single skill is about damage, skill damage and HP reduction, peacekeeping, meh. Infantry attack bonus and march speed. March speed is nice though, don't get me wrong, that's really nice because infantry are slow and we need to get into battle quickly. We need to be at the front line or protecting our back line whenever cavalry try to flank or anything like that. So the speed is nice, but attack bonus, don't care. And extra skill damage and counterattack. Counterattack is nice because you are surrounded half the time, so you're doing more damage back to your opponents. But hero skill, if you really want to do damage, you go to marksman, you go to mage, you go to cavalry. They're the ones who do the damage. Why would you want to do damage with infantry? To me, that makes no sense. Like, it really doesn't. And lastly, the awaken skill is, again, just more damage. I said it from the day one. I remember before I played this game, I was reading articles, watching guides, who's the best infantry march, because I want to be prepared when I jumped into this game. I wanted to get everything correct. And most things I read or watched, they were like, the best infantry pair is Madeline and Nika. From day one, I was like, nah, this makes no sense. I'm gonna go with Garwood, who's tanky. And then I believe Garwood was a part of the meta and started gaining respect. I was already there. And I'm proud because I know I'm talking about, mate. No, but in all seriousness, I don't think she's good. If you get her from the chest, that's fine, that's what I've got. But aside from that, do not waste any tokens on her. She's not that good. At number 5, we have Eliana. This is why I said some people count 6 infantry heroes, but to me, C basically is infantry. C is extremely tanky. The fact that I'm putting her above an actual infantry legendary hero is speaking volumes. She's such a good infantry hero, but she has to be the deputy because she doesn't have an infantry tree. But just by going through her skills, I mean, shield, I don't care about the skill damage and the magic damage. It's mainly that shield. 500 will help, it's tanky. Peacekeeping, yawn. Then normal attack damage reduction, 30%. That's a big number, man. And most of the time, you're getting hit by normal attacks. And when you cast a raid skill, you get 30% extra defense. Oh, like, she's so tanky. It's actually crazy. And when she's awakened, she gets healing. 70% chance when hit with a normal attack, you get healed 400. It's not the craziest amount. It's 70%, so you're very likely to get the healing. And it's every 3 seconds, so it comes very often. And as I always say, when it comes to tanks, the top 2 abilities are having a shield and healing. Those are what gonna keep you in battle the longest. And she has both. And as an epic, she's so easy to get. You could use your universals or you can just do the Eliana quest. She's free to play friendly, which makes this perfect. So for any low spenders or free to plays, all you need is her and then either the first or second ranked infantry hero at 5111 and you're set. Honestly, you would be set for a long time, and then you can gradually raise that legendary hero until you get them awakened. In all honesty, I could put her at number 3, and I'm not even joking. Number 3 and 4 are better, but if you're adding in the fact that she's very easy to get awakened and she's very free to play friendly, that could make her go to number 3. So if you're gonna really go for a 5111 or Eliana awakened, unless they're the first and second best infantry heroes, I could go with Eliana. I honestly probably would. She's gonna be in my secondary march for a long time. So please, just because he's epic, do not sleep on her, especially I would even say mid spenders, low spenders, free to plays. Solid choice. Now number 4. I'm gonna actually put number 4 and 3 close because they actually are very close to each other in level. And that is Skogul and Goresh. They are the 3rd and 4th. Goresh being the 4th and Skogul being the 3rd. If you're not gonna get these awakened and you're gonna end on a 5111, I would actually prefer Eliana over these. But if you do plan on getting them to 5511 or 5551 or awakened, then yeah, then I'd go to them. But that's a lot of tokens you're gonna have to use to get them to that level. But let's talk about why they are 4th and 3rd. The reason I've put Skogul above Goresh, actually first let's go through their skills, and this will show you how I came up with him being 4th and Skogul being 3rd. Now when it comes to their raid skill, Goresh is actually better because he gets damage taken reduction up to 15% and a physical bonus. But again, as an infantry, we want to focus on tankiness, so this is the big one. Damage taken reduction by 15% is huge, and for 6 seconds, that's big. While Skogul, now this is nice as well, extra counter attack damage, but the 15% extra HP bonus, again 6 seconds. HP is the best infantry stat. That's the one you want to increase the most. It's the highest base stat on infantry, so that's the one you want to get the most upgrades with. If Goresh was defense or something else, this would be hands down the best because 15% is nice. But damage taken reduction is huge. That is everything. Normal attack, counter attack, and hero skill damage. Like, all of it is reduced by 15%. It's crazy. This is what tanks need. Damage taken reduction. It's the best thing you can get on a tank. So if we're gonna go by points, it's currently 1-0 to Goresh. Now when it comes to the second one, this one was tricky because extra counter attack damage, by 20%, and infantry defense by 15%. Again, 15% is nice, like it's really good. As we saw Bakar, he had 10%, so the extra 5 does go big. While Skogul, physical attack bonus, which is better than counter attack bonus, because this is everything physical. So again, normal attack, even counter attack damage, and if your hero skill is a physical attack, that also increases. So this is better than just counter attack damage. But then she gets HP bonus, which, as I just said, is the best base stat for infantry. However, hers is only 10%, but that's because HP is better than defense. So what's better, 10% of HP or 15% of defense? We're gonna think of this in the far future when everyone's T5'd. T5 infantry have 269, power 69, HP. So 10% is 26.9, while 15% of 234 is 35.1. Yes, you get more physical defense, but you would still have higher HP because, well, as you can see, 35 difference. When it comes to what's better, you get more defense, but your HP will still be higher. It's hard. Honestly, by maths, 35 is more than 26.9. Or let's just say 27, but then as I just said, your HP will still be higher than your defense, and that's the best stat. So for this skill, I've actually put as a draw because they're both so good. And if you're going to try and level up these heroes, make sure to go to 5-5. Don't go 5-1-1-1. Now we're gonna go into the third skill, which is skill damage. And as I've been saying throughout this whole video, we don't care about damage when it comes to infantry. It's nice, don't get me wrong, it's nice. You're gonna get extra kills, extra points if it's Roots of War or Kill Event, I don't know. But it's not what we're looking for when you're infantry. It's just a nice added fun feature. Well, Skogul, the max attack bonus, so if you're surrounded by 5 marches, I believe that means they just have to attack you 5 times. So that's 5 counter attacks 5 times. That would be 5 times 5, and that would equal to 25%. That's what I believe it is. And if that is so, that's very good. I would prefer that actually over the skill damage, honestly, because that will be forever now throughout the whole battle. This is really irrelevant. The thing what makes this one better is this 60% extra march speed every time they do the Berserker charge. And I love Berserker charge. It's so good at protecting your backline, and if a cavalry tries to flank, or if mage or range or whoever is trying to get away and you're flanking them, you can charge and then bump into them, stunning them for like a second or half a second, and then yeah, you're in front of them, so now they're going to be slow trying to get away. 60% extra when you're doing that is crazy. There's times when the cavalry is just running off, or the mage, just you can't reach them in time, even with your Berserker charge. But with 60% extra march speed, no, that is solid, and that's every time. This is what sealed the deal for me. To me, at this point, it's 1-1-1, 1 each, and then a draw. But then the fourth skill, we saw Goresh, Stronghold. While with Skogul, healing, it's not the most. Eliana has more healing, but healing's healing. You know, it's still better than no healing. It is 2-1-1. So that is why I put Skogul ahead of Goresh. However, there is this to talk about. Skogul, her awakened skill only does 10% more counterattack damage. It's not that good, you know, it's not that impressive. While Goresh does an extra 5% resistance damage taken and extra 10% physical attack. This is huge. This is actually massive. And for 6 seconds, the only other person who does 20% is Garwood. This is legit really good. If we go by awakened v awakened, I would say Goresh is better now. But the issue is, I don't believe any of these two are worth awakening. I think it should go to number 1 and 2. And then for Skogul, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try and awaken, but that's because I've already awakened my number 1 and 2 ranked infantry. So unless I want to just hoard off loads of tokens and wait for the next infantry, which is a bit long and I'll be a bit bored, I'm going to go try and awaken her. But if you're saving up tokens, I definitely would not waste them on her. And honestly, you could be happy with 5-5-1-1, because this one you don't actually need to go 5-5-5-1, because healing, I still prefer healing over this one. And Goresh, same with him, you could go 5-5-1-1. I would definitely not go 5-5-5-1. I don't think he's worth going awakened, honestly, especially him. Skogul you could, but that's only if you're in my position where you've already awakened the 1st and 2nd ranked infantry heroes. But if you haven't, you don't need to. You really don't, and don't prioritize her over the number 1 and 2. And Goresh, you really don't have to awaken him. I honestly will be happy with 5-5-1-1, and that's it. He will be set until the next infantry heroes. I will not put any more tokens on him. I don't see a point. It'll be a waste. So therefore, I've put Skullghoul ahead of him. And one thing I forgot to mention, as you can see, it's another day, and I'm about to do my 100 spins for Skullghoul. If you want to check out this video, it will be out in the next few days after this video. But the thing I forgot to mention with Skullghoul and Goresh, the counter damage is great, like it really is good. But how I see counter damage, it thrives off T5 players and not so much from T4 and under. And majority of the players are T4. So why do I say T5s thrive off the counter attack damage while T4s don't? Well, T5s, you're a lot more tanky. You've got all the research, you have all the buffs needed. I mean, your base stat and your research are just ahead by far, and it's not even close. I mean, T4 stats, 233 HP and 203 defense, and look at T5, 269 and 234. Both of them have 30 more, well 30 plus more, and then add on top of all that research to get to the T5, you have to upgrade everything basically to 10. T5 stats are just way ahead, and the reason why T4 just won't really do as good of counter attack damage, if you have 5, 10, 15, 20 marches attacking you at the same time, you're gonna die quick. Even me being extremely tanky, depending how many marches attack me, I could survive from 2 minutes non-stop getting attacked, but then I could die in the next 15 seconds. It really just depends how many people are attacking me at that time. And that's me being extremely tanky, having Madeline and Garwood both awakened. Now imagine having heroes like Skullghoul and Goresh who are tanky in their own right, but also focus on counter attack damage. That 2 minutes could maybe be 1 minute, and that 15 seconds could be 5 seconds. There's a big difference from how tanky Madeline and Garwood are versus Skullghoul and Goresh, how tanky they are with a lot higher potential in counter-attack damage. So my opinion on counter-attack damage is, unless you're T5, don't focus on it. It's not worth it in my opinion. Your counter-attack damage as a T4 isn't really that much. That is my opinion on counter-attack damage. On paper it sounds amazing, but in reality, it's only really good for T5 players. We are at the final two, number 1 and 2, and similar to the 3rd and 4th. I mean, look, we all know who it's going to be. It's going to be Madeline and Garwood, but who's going to be number 1 and who's going to be number 2? And it's actually much closer than you think. When you straight away think of an infantry hero, everyone thinks the ideal infantry hero is Madeline. Remember, I literally said in the beginning of the video, people underestimated Garwood and said he wasn't actually that good. No. He's definitely there, as I've put him top 2. The number 2 is Garwood, and number 1 being Chakchar, because he does have counterattack bonus, rage accumulation speed bonus, and does have a healing factor, and it's 1000 with 7% extra HP bonus. So there is no better than Chakchar as number 1 infantry hero. Now, enough talking shit, let's really get on with it. It's obviously Madeline, but this is actually much closer than you think. The reason why this is close is if you get them awakened like I have, Garwood is actually more tankier than Madeline, which is crazy because Madeline's always been known as the best infantry, while Garwood has a shitty garrison skill. So that automatically just lowers his level, while all of Madeline's are open field, which is amazing. So you would think that she's the most tanky, but no. When they're awakened, Garwood is actually the most tanky hero in the game. So let's go through it. Oh, it doesn't even show before awakened. Damn. Alright, so I have to try and remember what it used to be. So before awakened, Garwood is at 1200 healing, and I believe it's 4 seconds of 20% damage reduction. While Madeline, 20% physical attack bonus, we don't care, and shield at 1200. So they're basically even. Shield will prevent your troops getting damaged or going hospital, while Garwood's bringing back your lightly wounded into battle. If you want your hospital to be less filled, this is better. But if you want your battle to last longer, I do feel like healing is better. But really, they're honestly, I just say, look, it's even. They're both 1200. If one of them was above the other, then I would say that wins. But she gets attack bonus. Garwood gets damage reduction by 20%. Again, it would be 4 seconds, but still, that's just 1-0. 1-0 easy. Second garrison, instantly nope, because her one is just so good. Madeline's is solid. 15k more troops and more damage again, but it's this. 15k makes you more tanky. Now the third one, this one's very solid of her. HP bonus 15%. Oof. and counterattack damage bonus. 15% is nice, but this is the main one. 15% HP bonus, solid. Now Garwood's 20% defense bonus, so it's very similar to Skogul and Goresh, where it came to the 10% and the 15%. Now it's 20% and 15%. Again, just like I said with Skogul and Goresh, it's pretty even, but with counterattack damage and healing, I have to go with healing, 30% extra, especially if you do the talent tree I use, which is all about healing, because you want to utilize this skill as much as possible. And then add this 30% on his main one, you're getting an extra 360 on top of that. So that's 1,560. And if we are talking about the awakened one, that's 420 extra. I mean, bro, that's insane. That's more healing than Skogul, just because of the healing received bonus. So when it comes to the third skill, his is better, meaning 2-1. And now for the fourth skill, physical damage dealt bonus 30%. When you're 75% chance, you're most likely gonna get it. It usually happens all the time, especially I heal a lot. This is because it's awakened, so remove this for now. Does AoE damage, which is nice, but against damage up to 3 surrounding legions. I would actually give it to Garwood, because you have to wait for your shield to be broken, so it's only when your rage goes off. While Garwood, I've got 4 ways of healing. 2 from the pet, Sand Aura, because I have a Sand Lizard, and then I've got the skill that heals, and then I've got the talent tree on my hero that heals, and Garwood, so that's 4 healings, and he has a 75% chance, so meaning 3 out of 4 should give me the extra damage, which is physical damage, meaning normal attacks, countered attack damage, and if you do physical hero skill damage, then that as well. While this is just up to 3. 300 is nice, but it's only when your shield's broken, which, to be fair, most of the time it is, because you're surrounded by loads of marches. But I still have to give it to Garwood's one. So technically, as right now, that is 3-1 to Garwood. And now you make the Awaken. Her Awaken is nice. It gives, once your shield is broken, you do get that 10% of damage reduction for 4 seconds, which is, any damage reduction is the best. But Garwood's, it was just amazing. So instead of the 1,204 seconds, it becomes 1,406 seconds. His Awaken just destroys Madeline's, meaning it would actually be 4-1, really, if you go through all of them. So that's probably making you think, then why is he not number 1? I mean, he's just wiped her out. Again, too many people underestimated this guy. He is my favorite hero. He was from day 1, and I'm glad he's still the most tanky hero in the game. But the reason why I've put him under Madeline, similar to the reason why I said Eliana could technically be number 3 on this list, it really depends on the type of player you are. If you're a free-to-play, low spender, or even mid spender, unless you did what I did, where you're purely focusing on infantry and only infantry heroes, then this doesn't go with you. But if you are also leveling up other heroes and using your tokens on other legendaries, then this is for you. Because of Garwood's second skill, this just makes it annoying that you have to go 5-1-1-1. If you do want to upgrade him further, you have to do it random between these 3, and you might get unlucky and get a 5-5-1-1, and that just sucks because this is terrible. While Madeline, every skill is usable. This is the least, but it's still doable. This is what I did. I went 5-5-5-1. But before I even got this to 5, I was like 5-5-3, and then just left this blank. I was not going to 4 stars until I completed this. You could go 5-1-1-1 if you really wanted to. And her 5-1-1-1 is better than Garwood's 5-1-1 because of this. If you're going to do 5-1-1-1, you'd probably go with Madeline because all of it is usable. But if you're like me, where you know for a fact you're going to make Garwood Awakened, then this won't matter. But because majority of the players on this game are low spenders, mid spenders, free to play, I would say low spenders is probably the highest player count. It's better to go with Madeline. It's just annoying when you have to randomize it, especially it gets so expensive with the tokens. While with Madeline, you could honestly be patient. You could leave her on 2 or 3 stars and just leave it with these, forget this skill for a long time until you get them 5-5-5. So that is why I've put Madeline number 1. But if you're a player who, just like me, purely will focus on selective heroes or high spender whale, then I would actually put Garwood as number 1, as the best infantry hero, and Madeline as number 2. So to summarize, to low spenders and free to plays, Baka number 7, Nika number 6, Goresh number 5, Skogul number 4, Eliana number 3, because very easy to get awakened. Garwood number 2 and Madeline number 1. For high spenders and Wales, again Baka number 7, Nika number 6, Eliana number 5, then Goresh number 4, Skogul number 3, number 2 Madeline, and then Garwood number 1. I've left out mid spenders because mid spenders, again, it really depends on how you want to play. If you want to mix, let's say you have 2 marches, one's marksman and one's tank, and you want to spread out your tokens, then you would go on more of the low spenders free to play side. But if you're like me, where you're going purely focusing on infantry and only infantry, then Garwood will be your number 1. There you have it. That is my ranking. I hope I helped and I've given you an idea of what to do if you're an infantry main, or if you're just someone who wants to create like a secondary march of infantry. Basically, the point I'm trying to get out is Nika sucks, Eliana is very solid, and Garwood is secretly the best infantry hero in the game, because what he does is what infantry need, and that's to tank, and he is the best tank 100%, making him, in my opinion, the best infantry hero. But for the population of this game, you have to put Madeline first. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. And as I said in the beginning, if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Now, after speaking for so long, it's time for me to go. As Juggernaut once said, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Slouser is outer.